Minister, thank you very much for your time. I'm going to go to the refugee issue that we brought you here for, but I would like to ask this of you very urgently. There are some reports of a suspected case of coronavirus that may have been detected in Limpopo. This is an official who apparently was working on a border that is between South Africa and Botswana. Are you able to confirm any of this?
Well, Chloe, our position when we called the first press conference with Minister of Health, Minister Zweli Mkhize, I announced publicly that we won't be commenting openly about coronavirus. We leave it to the Department of Health, because much as we are in charge of the borders, the health authorities are there. We're trying to stop confusion, because in Home Affairs we are not experts about health. But having said so, I've listened to the MEC for Health, Dr. Popira Matuba, who is well-versed about the case. I'm not well-versed.
In Limpopo?
Yes.
And what did she say?
She said they were taking precautions. The person has got flu, but simply because she's working at Botswana border post, they wanted to err on the side of caution, and they've isolated him just for that. But he said they don't really think he has got the virus, but they were saying they are not losing anything to isolate him and do tests. We've always done that in the past. That's what I heard they saying, and I much as I don't know about the case, that would have been the course I would have followed.
Is there concern around Botswana right now, in particular, relating to this?
Well, it's because there have been reports that there are 5 suspected cases. Colin, you are pushing me too hard on what I've already said I don't want to do. Leave this to the Department of Health, because I don't want to come here as a Minister of Home Affairs, talk about what's happening about corona, when the minister has got other ideas. Please, you are pushing me to dangerous grounds. But just understand that I had the MEC, and because I'm health trained, I had to understand what he's saying.
Yes.
If maybe I was not health trained, I wouldn't even have been commenting.
Thank you very much for that explanation,
Thank you,
Minister. We truly appreciate it. Let's get on with the business of why you're here. The Refugees Amendment Act. Why was it necessary to make amendments in the first place?
Well, firstly, Polly, thank you very much. But firstly, let me explain. It's not really the Amendment Act that people are worried with. It's certain parts of the regulations. After an Amendment Act has been passed, you pass regulations. This Amendment Act was signed on the 18th of December 2017 into law by the President. From there, we took 2 years making regulations. So this is what people are worried about. And I must state up front that some of the issues they are raising are actually valid. We are looking at them. So it's not all the regulations that are being questioned. For instance, there is one part about one of the amendments about the Standing Committee on Refugee Accounts. Even the Auditor General, even yesterday, was flagging it that you need to correct this. And we told him that, no, we have already made an amendment to correct it.
Yes.
Because the Auditor General flagged it 3 times in performance audit that this cannot be allowed to go on. Yet it was in the original act. So there had to be an amendment to correct even what the Auditor General was raising. That one nobody can challenge. There are areas which are being challenged, which when we look at them, we realize that people do have a point on this one because of the manner in which it's worded.
Minister, I have a sound bite here of a person that speaks on behalf of refugees. Let's have a listen to what they had to say.
Okay.
In all its facets now, you see that South Africa is just actually stripping off its international obligation to protect refugees by going against its own constitution and the international laws that are meant to be protecting refugees. Because when you talk about all these discrimination tendencies of saying that refugees are not going to be working in certain sectors, they can only be able to to study what they're going to choose for them. You run away because of politics and you come now to South Africa, you're told you cannot say anything about what you ran away from. So that tells you that, in essence, you are confined, you are stripped of your rights as a human being.
Minister, specific areas, 2 of them, that are coming out strongly there. One, you are confined to work in certain sectors, and which sectors are those? You're going to explain that to us, but also the refugees in this country will not be allowed to engage in political activity. What are the explanations?
Yeah, let me explain this. I'm not going to be able to tell you in which sections can they not work because it's not there.
So the person is completely incorrect?
No, let me tell you what has happened. There is a case brought by a Zimbabwean woman called Wachinuka. It's referred to as the Wachinuka case, who went to court about this issue because clearly, unlike other countries on the continent, South Africa does not confine people to refugee camps. You understand? We don't have refugee camps as a matter of policy ever since democracy. So when people are in refugee camps, they are helped by international agencies with education, health, maybe livelihood, etc. Now in South Africa, that's not the case. So this lady went to court and said, because of that, when I am applying for asylum, while I'm still going through the process, because sometimes it can take a long time, I need to be able to work. I need to be able to give a chance to work and my children to study, even before I get the status. The court agreed with her that yes, that needs to happen. But they went further. They didn't say they agree with her, she can just go and work. They said the Standing Committee on Refugee Affairs must sit down and determine that if people like her have to work, in which areas, under what conditions, etc., etc. Okay. That has not yet happened. So in the regulations, we are not saying they are barred from working. We are saying the Standing Committee on Refugee Affairs need to do that work because since the court ruling, they've never done it. And in doing it, they are still going to consult Department of Higher Education, the Labor, maybe even Network, etc., to say, is this small business development, DTI? That's what the regulation is saying. That the court has ruled that you need to go and determine, please go and determine. Minister, so I can't tell you now because there's been no determination.
Because of time constraints, yes. Minister, very quickly. Political activity, are they allowed to engage in that? And what has become of the situation at the Central Methodist in Cape Town around those refugees there?
But you're asking two very different things.
And I'm putting you under extreme pressure.
Yeah, you are putting me under pressure because the two things are completely unrelated. Anyway, look, what we are proposing there is that once you end the refugee status, because by definition you are under the protection of the Republic of South Africa, whatever you engage with, please check it with the minister. Let the minister know. Let's not just hear that you are here being protected by South Africa. The following day, we heard that we have been attacking the country, that maybe we are negotiating with because now the issues are different. It's not like during the apartheid era. We have got AU, we have got SADC. We discussed these issues. So what we are looking at is the wording appropriate? Does it give a feeling that this is a ban or have we put it in such a way that we're saying there need to be discussion with your hosts about your activities. Now, that is the one that we are really going to clear. The intention was not to ban anybody whatsoever from being involved in political activity. For instance, if somebody say, I'm going to my embassy to march or demonstrate peaceful, why should I bother about that? But if I hear that somebody has taken arms against the country where they come from because of the political situation, is a cause to worry. So what we need to do, we'll sit with them and clarify the actual wording, what it actually means.
Minister, very quickly, the refugee situation at the Central Methodist in Cape Town, what is it going to take to end that situation, or has it ended?
No, it doesn't end it, because, look, if somebody is asking for something that doesn't exist, only what do? There's only one way out of that situation, to reintegrate the people back into society. What they are asking for is not going to happen because nobody has got that. The issue of going to Canada, actually, I'm reporting to you for the first time because I never reported this in public. 3 weeks ago, I was attending an OECD conference in Paris, Organization for Economic Development and Cooperation. You know, it's mostly European countries and the US, but they invited some key countries in key regions of the world, like South Africa, Brazil, Indonesia. Yeah. During that conference, the Minister of Home Affairs in Canada was there. I sat with her to put this issue on her table and say, the demand of these people is to come to Canada, and this is what they are demanding. And she was shocked. She said, no, we don't have any system of what they are demanding. People apply to us individually, and we accept them as we wish.
All right,
we don't accept people as a group.
All right.
That has been said by United Nations before, time and again, and Canada itself has said so.
All right.
So there is no going to Canada. It's not going to happen.
Thank you, Minister.
Yes.
Thank you very much for that explanation and telling us here for the first time. Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, thanks indeed for your time. He is the Home Affairs Minister.